Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman, and we don't have any other description on the front, so I don't know what it's called. We have to turn it to the side. I'm sorry for all of you inbox collectors. This is the DC Future State version of Batman, where he's armored up a little bit, and I happen to really like this figure as a person, because we know reviewers aren't people. As a reviewer, I have some opinions, some good, some bad, but as a person, I really enjoy this figure mostly, and I'll go into why in just a minute. But there is definitely some stuff to talk about, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 18.5 centimeters to the top of his head, not counting his ears, and that's going to make him pretty close to 7.5 inches. Now, the thing I was saying about one of the reasons I really like this figure personally is that it reminds me of a figure I used to have. I think I might be wrong about it now that I'm thinking about it, but I thought it was like something to do with the Azrael storyline, where this figure was like an armored up Batman. He was kind of like tealish, I think. It was like a 5-point of articulation figure, but he had a similar overall look to him as this guy does. And I'm wondering if this might be, I don't know, how old is this Future State storyline? I don't know. Either way, this reminds me of a figure I had as a kid, so I really like it. I'll post a photo of that one. Okay, so that leads me to the question of the day. Which bat suit do you guys like the most? No traditional suits allowed. You have to pick some kind of alternative look. Something. Like, this is fairly traditional, but still different. It has to be something different. You can't just say New 52. You can't say Rebirth. None of those, all right? Okay, so anyway, yeah, I like this based on me liking a figure from being a kid, but it is also a really solid figure, mostly. Let's jump into the aesthetic. Is there a lot of paint? No, not really. There's some paint, like in the hips here. It's not all separate pieces. There's some, I think it's probably molded in the gray, and then we have the black painted on. That looks pretty good. The belt has a little bit of paint on it. The crotch area does. It's pretty clean. Same thing around here. This paint job up here is really clean for the yellow line work. That's fine. That's about it, other than the eyes. And they're painted well enough, so it's fine. There's no shading, but at 20 bucks, I don't mind the lack of shading. We're getting new molds, and if it comes with the proper accessories, I'm okay. At 20 bucks, this is perfectly fine for me. I would prefer more paint, but this is okay. There's enough molded plastic and there's enough contrast that it's fine. So that's good. As far as the aesthetic goes, I do think it looks way better. Way better on the card, because look how buff his chest is. That's not just a photography angle, unless it's like the world's trickiest photography. And he does have the photoshopped eyes and the weird lighting and stuff, but it looks way better here, but it still looks pretty darn good. The proportioning's not bad. I wouldn't mind slightly broader chest, because he does have a fairly narrow chest, especially for somebody in armor. But generally speaking, it's a pretty well put together figure. The proportioning is not bad. Like I said, composition's pretty good. Sculpt work is clean. There is some detail work if you look in at the pants or armor, whatever you want to call it. There is detail work going on. Not a ton, but there is texturing, there is wrinkling. There's some stuff. The head has some nice details. So, excuse me. Oh boy. So it is pretty good looking overall. I'm going to give the aesthetic on this one a 9 out of 10. It's good. I like it. The cape is windswept just a little bit, just enough to give it some attitude, some style. It's not like weirdly stretched out on this side. It's still balanced mostly. The wrinkles look nice and realistic. I like it. You know, people are telling me, oh, it also has some texture on it, like some leather texture, some stitch work. Very, very cool. Zoom in on that. Look at that stitch work. I mean, it's sculpted, but that looks really nice. People keep telling me, where is it? Hang on. People keep telling me you have to review this guy. It's the best one they've ever made. It's not even close. I don't know if people are just trolling me at this point or what, but this one's way better than that figure, objectively speaking. Aesthetically, 9 out of 10 for this guy. Very nicely put together. Now, as far as accessories go, he has 2 fists, which is an important thing for Batman. I love that. He does have 2 trigger finger hands, which is still ridiculous, but they can be used to hold his gold batarang, which is probably the best batarang accessory they've made so far. It's very nicely done. And that's it, so it's very limited. We do get that goofy trading card and the goofy display stand, which I'm going to talk about for a second, not in a sarcastic way. I'm going to talk about it in the sense that, hey Todd, are you there? Are you there, Todd? It's me, Anthony. Please stop including these things and just give us ankles that work. It's a perfect trade. The ankles don't work here, so we need these to keep the figure standing up. Let's just trade. You save the money and just make the ankles work. Everybody wins. We get figures that can stand. You save money. So yeah, as far as accessories go, I'll go 6 out of 10. We have fist hands and a batarang. That's enough. Could be better. Okay, let's talk about the articulation on this guy. It's not the best we've seen, but let's see how it actually shakes loose. So the head looks up and down pretty nicely. We're on a double ball peg. It is the best of the pegs, best of the joint styles for a neck. You can't beat it. Very nicely done there. Shoulder pads are connected to the shoulder themselves, but they tuck pretty well, so you can get the arm up to the side. That's fine by me. You do get your full rotation, and you do get a little bit of that shifty play because the arm is connected on a ball peg inside the body, and then there's just a cap in there, but you don't get a ton out of that. Bicep swivel is fine. It moves under the shoulder pad. Double jointed elbow works nicely. It's really no problem at all other than the cavities in the inner parts, but that's not a big deal. But really good range there. No problem with that. They're not ugly. Torso articulation. He leans back really well, which is par for the course. That's good. Let's see if he leans forward. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. But he doesn't lean forward, and you can see why now. So this is actually kind of convenient. They have a slant going up here and a very small opening. There's so much extra room here to carve out. Like I've been saying, yes, you can easily modify these to make them work better, and this is why. You just carve out around here, and the joint works better. And then up here, they have it at an angle. Why do they have it at an angle? This guy is actually engineered to not be able to lean forward for no reason. There's no reason for that, mechanically speaking. If you wanted to go in there and do some dremeling or some knife work at your own risk with parental supervision, of course, this guy would lean forward wonderfully. Double ball peg in the torso is the way to go. He leans sideways. He leans back. He just can't lean forward because they don't want him to. It doesn't make any sense. So that's a little bit bad. But also I want to note his diaper doesn't stick out any extra kind of way. It's just the belt. That's the way you want that too. This guy is like an example of how to do it right in a lot of ways, but also how to do it wrong in some ways too. You do, of course, get your rotation up there and down here. There is some range in the lower. It's a lot more limited than some other ones, but really, if you do a little bit of dremeling in there, you're going to have plenty of extra range. For the hips, they go out to the side almost to full-on splits. They're way too loose though. They're still using this crappy design that's never going to be a good design. You have to be way higher end, much better tolerances, much better plastics in order to get that to work. And even then, that's a risky design. Just don't do that. Do a ball hinge or do a ball socket and just get it worked out. This is not the way you want to do it. But the range is there. He can kick pretty far forward. That's fine. Thigh swivel. Yeah, basically none. That still blows. Double jointed knee. Could be better. It's not bad, but it definitely could be better. And then for the ankles, these boots are a separate piece, and they do come down a little bit too far for the ankles to work properly. But even if they do, the ratchets are so heavy and so spaced out that you can't find a sweet spot. And that's why I was saying, just give us good ankles, and we don't need the display stands. But this guy's a pain in the ass to stand in a neutral pose, just like most of these figures are. But this guy's particularly bad. You can rock it around to get an ankle rocker out of it, which is good. Ball hinge ankles are great. It's the best way to do it, but heavy ratcheted ones, not great. The toe joint is really far back on the foot. Mechanically speaking, it's okay, but it's so far back it looks pretty goofy. So that's not great. So yeah, ultimately this guy's articulation, it's not the best articulation we've ever seen for a $20 figure, but for the McFarlane line, it's pretty good. The torso is a little janky, and we do have some problems throughout with the ankles and things like that, but generally it's not too bad. I'm going to give this guy an articulation rating of 7 out of 10. It's passable. And this, I think, is one of McFarlane's best examples of a Batman figure, which is basically all he makes, so that's a good thing. Like, this is a pretty good one, guys. I have to recommend it. I'm going to give it a final verdict of 8.5 out of 10. Really, tweak the articulation a little bit, and it's a solid figure. Throw on some paint, it's a really good figure. Give us some extra accessories, it's damn near perfect. It's a really, really good example of how easy it is to make the figures better without costing any more. And it just seems like they're so inconsistent. You know, one of my viewers commented saying, I think I'm going to start doing like a comment of the month or of the week or something. So if you guys have something to say, you should comment that, and then I'll pin it. How about this? Other than when I'm advertising something, I will pin a singular comment to each video. Whatever somebody says that I think is a worthwhile comment, whether it's just something telling me how awesome I am. No, of course, I'm joking kind of about that. But no, whatever, if somebody has a good comment, I'll pin it from now on. So we'll do that. But the guy's comment was there's 3 people working on each of these figures. Somebody for the top half, somebody for the middle, and somebody for the bottom half. He didn't word it quite like that because that's 2 halves and not 3, but you get the idea. They don't have any consistency on a regular basis, but this figure does, and it looks really good because of it, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes to make me a happy buyer at 20 bucks. This figure is exceptional compared to most of the other McFarlane toys, and so I'm very happy with it, and I definitely recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you really should consider it. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.